Okay, good afternoon and welcome everyone. There's a few people here at the University of Reading, including our speaker Alex Krumer. We're delighted to have him on campus with us in Reading. And so we're having a hybrid Reading Online Sports Economics seminar today, our third hybrid attempt, our first hybrid attempt in a room fit for hybrid at the university, and our 142nd online seminar in all. Thanks everyone for being here. Alex is presenting. He's presenting on the topic on the cost of wearing white shorts in women's sport. What I'm going to do now is I am going to turn my camera off, which then will pan straight to Alex, and Alex will then share his screen and take away the talk. Well, yours, Alex. Seamless.
Thank you very much for having me here. Not the best week to present, I must admit. I'll do my best to be focused on the presentation, but yeah.
If you share your screen first before going to Microsoft, so go to, yeah, you have to go back to the Teams window. Go back to Teams for a second.
Okay.
And share. Yeah, that's fine. Yep, that works.
Okay, so yeah. So thank you very much for being with me. That's actually I was so enthusiastic about this paper. Now I'm a bit less enthusiastic, but let's go back to research and let's be positive. Okay, so that's a study on the cost of wearing white shorts in women's sport. Actually, I've been thinking about this question for long, because there were many talks about this bad idea of playing in white shorts for, I think, reasons that we all can understand, but we'll discuss it. We will discuss it now. Now, the main idea is that, well, menstrual, and actually it's funny, I have papers on judo or on ski jumping or on biathlon, and I can't even ski, and I'm not a judo fighter. So this is another paper where I haven't experienced menstrual cycles myself. So, but I just want to understand how these issues are associated with different things, and the idea is that there is actually these menstrual cycles are considered as a taboo in many societies. We are not talking about it. Yeah, even in Western societies, it's not really an open topic. And but these taboos actually they may result in a lack of understanding of different issues that may be associated with menstrual cycles. Now, one of them is the so-called anxiety or cycle anxiety or anxiety about leakage. And this causes lots of lack of confidence among women wearing white pants. So they don't want to wear white pants. They're reluctant of wearing white pants during their cycle period. So female athletes, for example, claim that white shorts can make them anxious, or that playing in white shorts is very uncomfortable experience for them. And there are this paper that I cite, but there are many studies that actually they interview players and the players said, look, it's not a good idea. And only recently it became a topic that people are okay to talk about it. I think one of the first who spoke about it was a Chinese swimmer in 2016 Olympic Games, when she did not swim very well, and then the journalist asked her what happened, and she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but I had the cycle pains, and I'm so sorry." And she was very embarrassed about it. But this was one of the first times that women openly said that, look, they're a menstrual cycle, and this is natural, and this may affect performance. Now, and since then, more and more teams, more and more players started talking about this thing of playing in white shorts, And recently we see really an improvement in that regard. So we see that, for example, English national team, they decided not to play in white shorts before the last World Cup, Women's World Cup, which was a huge success. So we also saw that French women's national team also decided not to wear white shorts anymore. In New Zealand national team also abandoned white shorts. Manchester City women's team decided not to play in white shorts anymore. Now, West Brom women's football team also does not play in white shorts. And there is Linfield. Where is Linfield?
Ireland.
It's
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland.
Northern.
Okay, so they also decided not to play in white shorts. So we see more and more teams. There is an increased awareness. Moreover, I'm in England now, and actually several days ago I had a chance to take the wrong train in London, and we reached Wimbledon. So let me say several words about Wimbledon. So in Wimbledon you had this strict white code, and even the world saw this Wimbledon tournament. They decided to change its all-white dress policy in 2023, and they allowed women to wear dark undershorts. So really, thank you very much. In 2023, they decided to do this, and now we see that women really can play in a form that suits them, that they feel comfortable about it, and there's nothing wrong about it. And by the way, if you have questions, please feel free to interrupt whenever you want. Now, as I said, there is an increased awareness. Many teams decide not to play in white shorts, but despite such increased awareness about this period anxiety and white dress anxiety, still 19 out of 32 teams participating in the recent 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup, they still played at least one game in one short. So I'm coming from Norway, and Norway is known as a country that really cares about gender empowerment and all those things. But the lack of awareness is also in Norway. They played in white shorts, and I can't really understand. And they even have the chair of the Norwegian Football Federation she's a woman, and nothing happened. Now, possible reasons that actually women teams play in white shorts is that they say, well, this is our national, the men's teams, they also played in white shorts. And because of that, you also play in white shorts. This is our usual uniform. One of the problems is that most decision makers in sports in general, and football in particular, are men, and they have little awareness of the anxiety associated with the menstrual cycle. I'll just give you some anecdotal evidence. So when I explain this study to my friends who are men, half of them, they say, so what's the problem? What's the problem with white shorts? And when I speak with women, I had not even one woman who said, what's the problem? They straight away understand the problem. So really, I hope that this study will increase the awareness of this problem. Because I don't think that it's coming from men from the evil point of view, like, no, you will play in white and full stop. They probably don't understand the problem. That's what I think. And such lack of understanding of the problem may be costly for society. So for example, when we go away from professional football and we go to sports participation, sports uniform play a significant role in the high dropout rates of teenage girls in school sport. And this is not in line with the idea that sport should be a vehicle for gender equality. I think UN, they put it as one of the important things that higher participation of women in sports will increase, will enhance or improve gender equality. And if such a small thing, such an unimportant thing actually, like white shorts, may be a reason for drop out from football, you actually stop this or you delay this advancement towards gender equality. Now, but football decision makers, they maybe less care about gender equality, and maybe they do. So maybe they don't really care about dropout of sports and such things. But there are also immediate negative effect of wearing white shorts during a football game. So actually, this paper is not the first about the effect of color in sports. There was a study by Hill and Barton. They published it in Nature, and they used wrestling competitions, and they found that wearing red clothes had a positive relationship with the probability of winning in combat sports. And then many papers followed up. They also investigated this relationship between colors and performance in sports. Well, when you look those papers, most of them, they don't control for teams' abilities. So it's not clear. So maybe what can happen is that players or teams that play in red shorts, on average, they are just better players or better teams. And that would be the reason with the higher probability of winning. So this might be an endogenous variable in that regard. So there is an unobservable ability associated with both red shorts and probability of winning. And since they don't control for this, it's not clear what's going on, because there was another paper about judo when they tried to find the effect of blue colors on winning probability in judo, and then they completely missed out. I think it was published also either in Nature or in Science, and they completely missed out that in some tournaments where they found the effect, higher ranked players wear blue shorts. And that was the reason why players in blue had higher probability of winning. Okay, so there is a very nice meta-analysis by Weiss and colleagues about it, and they really criticize all those papers, because they actually say that they noted the scarcity of carefully controlled empirical work in this field. Now, and obviously none of these papers consider the problem of wearing white shorts in women's team sports. And in women's team sports, we require cooperation and coordination between different individuals. Now, actually, when we don't find any studies on wearing white shorts in women's sport, is not really surprising, because women's sports are greatly under-researched, underrepresented in sports economics, sports management, you name it. When we compare with the men's sport, I will give you just an example of my recent study about COVID-19 effect on home advantage. There are so many papers, and James was among the first. James and the co-authors, and Carl and Dominic. Yeah, did I forget someone?
Alex.
And Alex. Yeah. Right. So there were so many papers on men's football regarding the effect of COVID-19. And in 2021 or 22, I think 1 or 2 years within the pandemic, there was not a single paper on women's football. So that was one of the easiest paper to write, because no one has written.
I know exactly why.
Why?
Because everybody found no result.
Maybe. So, but no result. Yeah. So I mean,
well, not enough power.
I mean, no result.
It should have been published.
Is still a good result.
I know that's why it wasn't.
Yeah. No result is still a result. Or like my very good friend Ignacio Palacios Huerta, who I think is here, he has this no information is still information, right? So we have to increase the number of studies. We as sports economists, as scientists, I think this is a very important scientific task, to investigate more and more women's sports, okay? So part of the blame is also on us. Now, so what am I doing here? I think I already more or less described what I'm gonna do, but I investigate whether playing in white shorts is negatively associated with performance. And the reason for that is that such a possible underperformance maybe because, well, actually it's It's very easy. If a team plays with in white shorts and one of the players has this anxiety, so this player is not fully concentrated in the, she's not 100% focused in the game. And then on average, the skill, the strength of the team on average is lower compared to the case when she doesn't have this anxiety, right? So that's kind of the reason. And it's also possible that the anxiety of one player may have a negative spillover effect on the other teammates. So, for example, if other teammates know that one of the players has a period and she's worried about it, so this may also have some negative spillover effect on teammates. But again, this is just yeah. So,
to benchmark these things, do you have evidence from the sports science literature in general and sports psychology literature in general on the sorts of levels of effects on performance of anxiety?
So
to start with, you need to know what anxiety does normally, right?
Yeah. So the anxiety that normally they say we are not confident playing with this. Sure. This bothers us. No, there is no numerical evidence by how much.
On this specifically.
On this specifically.
There'll be lots of evidence on the effects of mental health, etc.
Yes.
To give you an order of magnitude of the kinds of effects on physical performance.
So there are of course there are studies, but no one has ever investigate the magnitude of the effect of playing in white shorts. And by the way, there is an unobservable information for me regarding the whether they have period or not. I don't have this information.
Well, I think the unobservable as well is the reason why they're playing in white shorts or not.
So
I think it could be correlated with lots of things about caring for women and marginal gains of the sports association. So that's why I think, sorry to distract. That's really useful. So benchmark to the literature on just how much does anxiety matter on the pitch.
And it matters.
I'm sure it does, but I've seen your numbers.
Yeah.
And they look huge.
They are huge.
But I would like to know whether there are other types of anxiety, like when players turn.
But let's get to the numbers.
I know.
Let's get to the numbers. So what I did is the following. I used data on all football games in all the FIFA Women's World Cups and European Championships from 2003. So why did I pick 2003? And I'm very careful with data regarding the selected period, because it's always a question, why did you start this year? So very simple. The year, that was the first year where women's FIFA World Ranking were released. So before that, I just couldn't use FIFA Women's rankings. That's it. And the last tournament I included was 2023 because that's just the last one. I don't have any other tournaments. Now, out of 391 games played in these tournaments, 264 games involved one team that played in white shorts against an opponent in non-white shorts. So actually, like 2/3 of the games, a team played in white shorts. Now, then I removed 30 games that were defined as less competitive since one of the teams had already ensured qualification to the next stage or had lost any chance to do so before its last game of the group stage. So there are possibilities in the last game of the group stage where one of the teams has already ensured qualification to the knockout. And then it's less competitive. Then this is really unobservable in terms of the incentives. Actually, it is observable. So I really removed those matches because the level of competition is lower. So either a team ensured qualification or lost any chance to do it, like they lost 2 times and that's it. So this is just Ian has a question.
Hi. Hiya. So I was wondering, so the number of teams wearing white shorts initially is very high. Like there are lots of colors that we could choose. So it doesn't seem that white shorts are just a random color amongst many other colors. It seems that for whatever, there must be some reason why, like the default color is white. Do we know why? Why are teams choosing white disproportionately to any other color?
Absolutely, we know because this is more or less the same numbers for the men's football, and that's why they play the same colors as men's national teams.
So why do the men play in white? Why not other colours? What? I mean, I played squash at lunchtime today, so I've got white socks on. I mean, why am I wearing white socks instead of like any other colour?
So first
it
of all,
doesn't seem to be random.
Traditional cheaper, nice. So I didn't think about it. So Carl now is saying so white colors were traditionally cheaper, and that's why they. Maybe that's a good point. I didn't know. Yeah.
I mean, a number of teams, it's just part of their national colour. So a lot of teams, it's linked to their flag.
Maybe white is part of the colour of the flag or something like that.
And it might be the.
So I guess the thing that I want to rule out is that there was any sort of positive performance effect from wearing white. I mean, you mentioned that Nature paper. Do they say anything about white in there being good for team performance?
No.
Or even the opposite, that it has like a strategic effect. Like if I'm playing cricket against a red ball and the other team gets to wear red, that's not good for me if I'm batting.
So actually, I would expect that strategically they would play more in red if there is some red effect based on the previous studies on wrestling. Yeah. But actually, I think it's if two teams, for example, because I'll tell you like that, it's more or less random, not entirely, because teams randomly assigned in those competitions to the home and the away teams, despite the fact they both play away. But one team is considered home and one away, and then by definition, you have to play in different colors. So this is more or less random. Yeah,
that's great.
Black and white.
Black and white TV.
Black and white TV. There's another explanation why they play in white, because of the historical black and white. So Danielle has a question.
Yes.
Yeah, here I am. Sorry. Hi.
Hi.
There's an interesting question. I think in recent years, in men's football, I suppose in women's football too, FIFA has tended to go towards more monochromatic uniforms. So they don't want to have, like, when Italy plays Germany, the traditional Italy kit is, white shorts, blue jersey versus, black shorts, white jersey for Germany. And in recent years, they've tried to have all blue Italy versus all white Germany. And I think this could be something that you could exploit as teams that maybe deviate from their traditional kit. So the traditional Italy kit has white shorts. Okay, but sometimes they play in blue shorts. I wonder whether maybe that can, address some of those questions about strategy. But I think it's really imposed by FIFA. It's not.
Because it's imposed by FIFA, I'm not sure that strategy plays a role here. So given that I'm not the one that chooses the colors, then I'm not sure that strategy here. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Because it's not my choice.
Yeah, no, I need to think about it. I think there could be something interesting, like sort of within team, when they're wearing the same sort of, color of the jersey when they change the shorts, if that's something that, can give you.
That's.
But anyway, show us the numbers first.
Yeah. So just simple descriptives, very simple, no controls, no, just teams that play in white shorts on average gain 1.27 points per game, and their opponents that don't play in white shorts gain 1.57 points per game. Just simple averages, nothing. Just now, one concern could be that, look, Alex, it's all nice, but maybe teams in white shorts, they are on average weaker than teams in non-white shorts. And if that's the case, then the entire story is not worth anything. And then simple, yeah.
To be clear, are you talking about what colour they normally wear as their home kit, or
no. What they actually play.
Yeah, okay.
No reference to their usual colour. Now, so again, one concern could be that simply teams in white shorts are on average weaker. So I took all the FIFA rankings, and then I see that actually that's not the case. If at all, teams in white shorts have a slightly better FIFA ranking than teams in non-white shorts. So I would expect the other way around. Yeah, of course there are no significant difference, but if at all, I would expect that teams in white shorts would win more often than teams in non-white shorts.
But you're using tournaments, right? So the selection on you're selecting through a tournament. So if you get to the quarterfinals,
no, before
the group stage.
FIFA, no, so throughout the tournament. So this is the FIFA rankings, the last one before the beginning of the tournament.
No, what I mean is by the time you get to the quarterfinals.
No, I don't update it.
Yeah, no, even fixing just the teams in the quarterfinals are going to be. They're going to be more competitive. So
yeah, I take everything, everything into account. So we have like 3 points for winning, 1 point for draw, and 0. But we're going to be there. So regarding women's data. So for each game, I define a favorite and an underdog team. A favorite team is defined as a team with a better FIFA World Ranking before the beginning of the tournament. That's exactly what I just said. And then I use favorite points as the dependent variable. So this variable gets the value of 3 if this favorite team won, 1 if it's a draw, and 0 if they lost. In 90 or 120 minutes, if it's the knockout stage. Don't worry, I will split the data also into groups. Now, and the key independent variable is very simple dummy variable that gets the value of 1 if a favorite team plays in white shorts, and 0 if a favorite team plays in non-white shorts. That's kind of the treatment. And this is just some summary statistics. I don't know if something is interesting here. Yeah. And I said, okay, well, maybe something is going on with the white color, because, you know, maybe playing in white is really bad. So I need to do the same analysis for men, because I cannot just say, look, women play in white, they get less point when they play in white, and full stop. I have to take some control, some like other group. Let's see whether white has any effect. So I used exactly the same period of time, starting from 2002 to 2022, all the FIFA Men's World Cups and European Championships. And again, look at this. The numbers are, in terms of the shares of games in white shorts, are very, very similar, or more or less similar. So we have 73% of the matches, at least one of the teams played in white shorts. And there it was like 67, if I'm not mistaken. So that's, from here, I kind of realize that the teams that play in men's football in white shorts, that's why the women's team also play in white shorts, because of the tradition. Now, I removed 50 games that were defined as less competitive because one of the teams has qualified or had lost any chance to qualify for the next stage. And this is what I have in terms of descriptive statistics. Okay. And now very, very simple estimation. So I used the PPML, Poisson-Sardou maximum likelihood, and these are the marginal effects. So favorite in white shorts, when I use all the data, they have on average 0.32 points less when they play in white shorts compared to a team in non-white shorts. Among men, no effect whatsoever, 0. So in brackets, it's p-values. And then I said, well, maybe it's not entirely correct to take the knockout matches because, you know, they don't play for 3 points or what, they just want to win. So I removed the knockout matches and I only used the group stage matches in the second column. And we find here more or less the same story, that women that play in white shorts gain significantly less points. And again, no such effect among men.
So
yeah,
are you using the variation and the difference between the shorts of the two teams?
Sorry?
Are you using the fact that both teams might be playing in white shorts?
No. One in white, one, it's by definition. I had 2 matches where both teams played in white shorts, so I removed them.
Only one?
Well, there were 2 matches. All the rest, it's one in white, one in non-white. I think it was once USA and Norway, and the second one I don't remember.
Oh, okay, I thought there'd be quite a lot.
No, only 2 games like that. So, and that was really fun to work on this project in terms of data collection, because I just, during the FIFA Women's World Cup, I also watched these games, and on YouTube I watched all the goals from all the previous tournaments, and I just coded the white and non-white, and then Alessandro, I think here, he kind of looked after me and confirmed my my data. So thank you, Alessandro, for that.
Clear, Alex,
Yeah.
on the specification. So it's a match level regression,
Yes.
and there is a control of
White.
no white shorts.
No, it's dummy. It's by definition one team in white, then the other one is non-white. So the regression is favorite points as function of dummy variable of white shorts, because the base group is non-white.
Sure. Yeah, well, why not use the no white shorts and then interact that the favorite was wearing white shorts versus the other team was wearing white shorts? Then you get the effect of white shorts, don't you? At the minute, you're just getting the effect.
So again. So what's the outcome variable?
The counterfactual is no team is wearing white shorts. And then you're getting,
but then
one or the other team is wearing white shorts. That's your treatment.
Okay.
And then you can interact that with whether it was the favorite or the non-favorite.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I can do that. Yeah, I can do
this. This effect is just the difference between.
Yeah, but then
the favorite and the non-favorite wearing white shorts.
Yes.
The effect of white shorts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah. Good point. Yeah. So the main idea of this article was actually to increase awareness of issues associated with the menstrual cycle, because we are not talking about it. In economics, there are several papers in general economics that they do discuss it, but really not too many. And this is such a universal feature and has so many effects, or may have so many effects on different things. And I think we as sports economists can push it towards more awareness of in scientific society in the field of economics. I think so. So I did it by providing for the first time a measurement of the negative effect of playing in white shorts in women's sports. And generally speaking, sport can serve as a good promoter of awareness of social issues in general and those concerning the menstrual cycle. And what I found is that wearing white shorts in women's football is a very, very bad idea in terms of both women's self-confidence and sporting performance. Because what I'm saying, look, they say we are not okay in playing, openly say, we don't want to play in white shorts. Still, 19 teams out of 32 in the last World Cup played in white shorts. Really? I don't get it. I really don't understand. They say we don't want, full stop. There are many other colors. So what's the problem? And some nations like England, France, New Zealand, and I think Australia, they changed it, France. But some other, including Norway, no, they didn't do it.
I mean, the England team didn't change it straight away, though.
No, it took time.
I mean, you just go to the shop and buy a pair of black shorts, don't you? But
yeah, and they could. English national team, men's national team, they play, if I remember correctly, white, black, and whatever.
dark blue.
Yeah.
Blue.
So what?
Yeah.
I really don't understand what's the problem. But okay. Let's hope that now it will change. So I hope that these results will prompt sports decision makers to reconsider their desire to force women to wear white shorts against their will. And okay, that's only football, but the more important outcome could be higher participation of women in sports, which is an additional step towards gender equality. Because I read so many papers before I wrote this about the menstrual cycles and some podcasts about. So there are really, really lots of problems in women's sports in terms of participation, because the facilities are not fit to women's participation. Women need slightly different facilities than what we need, like what we men need. So that's kind of the point here. And the last one, very, very, very relevant. It's I hope that someday we will make sport, not war. I will not say more than this. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. There's a chat question about it looks. No. Okay, well, there are hands up. Ian.
Thank you, Alex. That's great. So you mentioned a couple of mechanisms at the start So the anxiety can be like on an individual level. I feel bad, so I play worse. Then you mentioned the team effect. So I might make my teammates play worse. Are you able to get a sense of which of these is more important? Can you maybe look at sports where it's just the individual, it's not a team?
So I was thinking about it, but there it's really selection. So Carl mentioned selection, but it's not here. Selection is going on. Let's say in tennis. You may wear white shorts when you are not in, when you don't have a cycle. You, female tennis player, when she's not in cycle, when she doesn't have menstrual cycle. So you have selection, and you have no information who has a menstrual cycle or not. So I've been thinking about doing the same in tennis, but I might have completely different results. I don't know. And here in football, I guess, like statistically, one of the players might have a period in every game.
Mm. So you mentioned selection. So the selection I was thinking about was, say, if I'm a woman and I feel bad because I've got my menstrual cycle, I might not play. That
is right. That is correct. But then out of 11 players, I guess, again, could be. This could be. That's the point, that I don't have the information regarding who's on period or not. But I read several papers, and they say they still play in period, depending on which day of the cycle and so on. But again, I wish I had this information, but I have no chance to get it. There's no chance I get it. Yeah, Carl?
The birth control measures themselves can affect performance. That's well known. That's the reason why many sports people avoid them.
Yeah.
So the mechanism could be through the birth control.
No, but I guess that my assumption, hidden assumption here, is that teams that play in white shorts and non-white shorts, they both use the same birth control.
Exactly, but I think that might.
So that's why.
Maybe you never know. You don't know, right?
No, but
disclose that.
But let's say in Norway they played in white shorts, but some games not in white shorts, and you don't know a priori in which shorts.
That a woman could forecast that her team has changed its policy.
Yeah, could be.
I think if you go back to the why it's in the World Cup. So if you're playing in the World Cup, no matter how you are feeling, you're going to be trying to play in that more than almost any other match, because it might be your one the opportunity to
could be.
And if you're in the group stage, you've got only 3 matches, and then you get to the knockouts. Every match is a single match, effectively. So you'll be doing everything you can. So I think
this could be maybe
if you took, say, the Women's Premier League or something, you might see more. Because teams are more likely to rotate over 38, 40 game season, 60 game season, whatever.
Yeah, could be that the effect might differ between World Cups and the usual league. Could be, I don't know. I didn't do it, but could be. Yeah, Dmitry?
No, Danieli's first, just in terms of the proper ordering of things. So Danieli?
So a couple of points. One, I think that, you're getting these results. They look striking, but the p-values are 0.03, 0.04, and I would really like to throw as much different variations as you can on this. Whether it's including more data from league matches, from other tournaments, looking not just at points per game, but at number of goals, or any just try to really make that stick, because you mentioned some of this other research on the red jersey effect that you said doesn't seem, if I understood correctly, that didn't really seem to hold up to further scrutiny. And the other question, since people are mentioning other sports, and I know that you've done a lot of work on Olympic sports, what about judo? Isn't there one always wears a blue and one always wears white?
Yes, there is such thing. I think that. So there was this study that I showed, that I told about this judo, that, but I don't remember whether they I think they put all together men and women, if I'm not mistaken,
Okay.
and they found that.
Sorry, I missed the beginning of the talk.
Yeah, so what they found is that blue win more often than white, but then there was a comment to this paper, and they showed that in some competitions, so they said it's a random allocation, but they showed in the competition in question, those who were in blue, they were higher ranked. So that's why you got this result. So they did something like that. I need to look. I think there was some study on judo. I have to check it. But in judo, unlike in football, so they put this. I don't know how you call it. They wear things that are we don't.
Yeah, no,
you are
I
more
see
covered. You are more covered than in football. Let's put it this way.
Yeah. Thank you.
Dimitri's next.
Thank you for this interesting presentation, this striking result. It was interesting to listen. My idea is, what do you think? Does it worth to look at the youth competitions? Because if this story is the case, then probably there is a threshold somewhere around under 12 or under 14, I don't know, tournaments. So for little girls, there shouldn't be such effect. And for girls starting from under 12, under 14,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure that it's 12. And it can be 12, 11. I don't know.
I think young girls might be more anxious as well.
Maybe also more anxious. I don't know. Yeah, that's young girls. Yeah. But I think it starts at the age of 12, 11, 12.
On average.
On average.
It could be younger.
Could be younger.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. I don't know when it starts.
We're saying that in the entire audience for this talk, there's one female.
Yeah, not one female here.
Yeah, Jess Hargreaves is the only.
Okay, okay. Well, that's a shame. Now a tough question from Stefan.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Jess.
Hello.
Hi.
Well, as you've introduced me, I had a couple of points, so I shall make them now if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's only I think it's the last 2 World Cups where they've introduced a separate kit for the women, so that, like you said at the start, England and USA had the ability to have blue shorts that would be different to the men's team. In the Women's Super League, you showed the Man City ladies team that were wearing the red shorts, but in the Super League, they do wear the exact kit that the men wear still. So they had to pick some third shorts that the men sometimes wear to be their regular shorts. So I think there's decision making in terms of the club kits is going to be made primarily on the men's team, isn't it? And then the women just have to wear it. So I think it would be like you're saying, it's making a decision. This kit is going to be worn by men and women. So let's make some sensible choices. But it goes back to what you were saying right at the end, which was whether or not you can prove a statistical difference. If women are saying they don't like it, then why are you making them wear these shorts? So yeah, I agree with your final point wholeheartedly.
Thank you.
Another thing I will say is recently there's been in the news about male players wearing kits sponsored by gambling companies and things, being against their religion, having issue with that. So there is a history of how much control do players have about the kits that they're forced to wear and whether or not they agree that that's what it should be. Final point I'll make is I think that the US women's team has a specialist menstruation consultant that helps with their whole training program, thinking about how to train around the menstrual cycles. So they're probably world leaders in terms of all these sorts of points. But anyway, thank you for a great talk. It's good to hear, like you said, shining a light on these issues.
Thank you. Actually, I do think that women's football differs from men. You don't need me to say it, but the entire preparation should be. It's not the same. It's just not the same. It's very common. Yeah, there are many overlaps, but there are things that are unique to women, and but we are recognizing that that's that's good. And by the way, my answer to Daniele, to previous question, he said more variants to explore more. So I did the goals, and I think I didn't find anything. There was no difference in goals. So that's my answer to Daniele. So he said I forgot to answer. So there are results or non-findings for the number of goals.
It's kind of interesting itself, isn't it?
No, but you see, it shouldn't be, the number of goals and the points per game, they should not, because 5-0 and 1-0, it's still 3 points. So, and actually 5-0 and 1-0, you score the goal and it's very special goal, right? So you're going to defend it more. I don't know, but I have to be honest and say that there is no finding for the number of goals.
One of the points before Stefan, kind of triggered by what Jess was saying, was the Aston Villa have got this issue this season. You've seen the men's kit, apparently it gets incredibly wet. They sweat.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
And there's a BBC article about the women's team obviously being a bit conscious, because apparently Aston Villa change their shirts at half time. Because the shirts are that bad that they've got to change them at half time. So, and the women are rightly anxious about these kits and having to wear these kits.
Run less.
Maybe, yeah. Stefan's ready and waiting. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. Well, I like this paper a lot anyway, so I think it's really good. I agree with Daniele, I think, in a bit, in the sense that I think anything you can do to sort of strengthen the results is going to be good, because I think it's, and as you say, it's worth this important area of research, so it's worth continuing, right? But no reason to stop here. One thing that struck me was, and I'm not an expert on this, as you came to my house, you'd realize that I'm not a very good complement what constitutes complementary colors. But that is an issue right here. So one issue is, to what extent are the colors complementary with red, which is obviously the focal issue. So, for example, green shorts are also going to be pretty bad in terms of if showing up blood. Yellow shorts would be very bad. But say purple shorts would be actually not too bad. So in some senses, you can also think about, instead of just doing it on white, you could say which had the shade that was most, I don't know whether we want to say complementary with blood or whatever it might be. The one that is going to be most effective, though, in terms of concealing any blood, and therefore reducing anxiety. So and the other thing I thought was is whether there's anything you could do on league games, whether there are. So again, there must be some variations within leagues within these colors, and again, once you start to take into account shades, whether they have an impact, and particularly away kits, that's a possibility. And the final thing was betting odds. Could you just look at, instead of looking at this the FIFA rankings to establish the effect, why not look at the bookmaker odds and surprise? So again the white shorts should lead to should have an effect on the surprise associated with the outcome, or you might think that anyway.
So thank you, Stefan, and thank you for liking the paper and giving me the comments during the draft process. Why didn't you tell me this before?
I needed to hear it out loud.
So regarding so I like to do simple things. White, non-white, for example, it's easy to communicate. It doesn't mean that that's perfect. Now, second, regarding the different colors, it's a good idea actually, but then I think it's maybe AI project, like some machine learning to see different. But it complicates the entire thing. And so my answer to this would be, given that there are no study that deals with this question, and this is so simple to have white versus non-white, I rather will not complicate it. Of course, I could have said that's a good question, that's a good point, and that's it. But that's I think that for the first paper in the field, to go to AI, maybe that could be a follow-up project. But I simply don't want to make it too complicated, because I think it can have very, very nice policy implications. And I don't want to bother the people who will read it, to bother them with too much information, which is unnecessary for opening a new direction in research, I think. But I might be completely wrong.
No, I agree. I think that's a fair point. I mean, I think a follow-up paper where you started to look at the different colors might be, or somebody did, I think might be worth it.
Carl?
You mentioned earlier the head of the FA in Norway was a woman, and it didn't change.
No.
That's where I would look next, because my gut is my gut instinct on this, and so I trust my gut a little bit, is I think you found an awesome instrument for caring about women's sport and the changes in caring about women's sport, and different associations caring, and also marginal gains in sports. You know, until I understand the wider literature on how much anxiety because these effects are just huge that you're suggesting, I kind of think they're too big so the effect is going through to that. I think it's just massive. So if those effects were so big, then nobody would be playing in white shorts.
Yeah, but the point is that people don't realize this.
Yeah.
People don't understand in this. People
they see by data.
No, but what do you mean? You don't need data. Women say we don't want to play in white shorts. Sure. 19 teams still play it. So we think we give too much credit to the rationality of decision makers in sports industry.
Yes, but the whole listening to the women part, that is probably probably the mechanism I believe in, not necessarily the anxiety that comes from actually wearing the short. The size of the anxiety effect. It's about figuring out what is causing it.
Hmm.
And
I don't know.
To have anxiety leading to those sizes of effects of like one or two players, it's just ginormous.
Yeah. Because
they play in different shorts all the time.
Well, exactly. If you're a manager and an example would be like a penalty shootout, you're not going to let that person take the penalty if they're really anxious, if you can pick your first 5 players. But if it's nothing to do with the menstrual cycle, which is generally you're looking at picking your 5 players for a penalty shootout, which ones you're going to pick? The ones who are confident, who want to do it, because they're from whether they've got the best ability or not.
I'm not sure how to pick penalty shooters, and I don't think anyone knows.
Well, yeah, but it's the same thing then.
There are some sports psychologists that they claim they know, but they actually don't. I don't want to name names here.
So picking the team at the beginning of a match then, just generally, if a player's not particularly feeling that well, and you've got another player who's almost equal to them, but in that position, then you might pick them instead.
Yeah.
The simplest variable I could think of to start to get at this would be membership of the board of the Football Association. And you could collect that data quite quickly, historical membership of the board. And if this correlates with increasing representation of women in the management of the game, then I think the mechanisms through that, not through specifically through controlling for anxiety.
I must tell again, I'm coming back to this assumption of rationality, which is way too strong. I spoke with so many people in Norway, men from football industry. Really, half of them said, what's the point? And then when I explained them, one person out of 11 is not concentrated in the game because of the leakage anxiety. There is huge literature on leakage anxiety. You reduce the strength of your team on average. And that's it.
But at the same time, football managers in the men's game frequently pick men who are playing while their wives are in labour or are about to give birth to a child.
Mm-hmm.
And they do so presumably because the man still wants to play, and presumably they believe that the effect on the player's performance isn't that big.
Could be, I don't know.
Yeah. And that player is so important to the team as well.
It's not the anxiety. I don't think the anxiety effect of.
No, but again, the exact mechanism here, I have no clue.
Exactly,
and I'm very honest. I don't know.
I'm just suggesting the association steps to go forward in the next paper or extension to really.
I hope we will. I hope this paper will we'll give some ideas to
top players
next
concentrate through those 90 minutes.
So Stefan has another question. Maybe another idea for another paper.
Always another idea for another paper, Alex. No, just one thing is I just struck me that in order to sort of get some sense of whether this mechanism is coherent and consistent with what we'd expect, one thing you do is, given you've got, I don't know, 11 players on the pitch or 11 plus however many subs, what's the probability of one woman, two women within the team being in their menstrual cycle at that point in time, and see whether, so for example, if for example it was sort of, you know, would be really common to have several women on the team in a menstrual cycle, that would seem to be a good supportive argument. I mean, not proof, but an argument in support of the paper that this is having a big effect. If it was, say, the probability that almost none would ever have be in their menstrual cycle, then, which doesn't sound right to me, but that would also be.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's kind of, you bring me back to this combinatorics class in my bachelor now to calculate. Yeah, but that's possible.
Yeah, it would sort of, I mean, it seems to me it's pretty likely that several women on the team at any one game are going to be in the middle of a menstrual cycle, and therefore that really helps to support the argument. This has to be a significant factor.
Yeah.
And does it depend on the type of data?
I agree.
So if you're using a World Cup versus the league now.
So and again, and here again, the effect in league games are likely or could differ from the effect in the World Cup games, because the incentives differ. The anxiety, the basic anxiety, regardless of the menstruation, differs, right? So yeah, but that's another question. Yeah. Or another paper, could be. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got his hand up there.
I am. Yeah.
So I've also got another paper. So do you have an idea about why this is all happening now? Why are the objections being raised now? I mean, we've had women's sport for a long time, particularly tennis, and we had very high profile players back in the 60s and 70s. They were global superstars, so they should have a platform and a voice back then. So is it that there was always anxiety and it was just never spoken about, or do we think that the anxiety has increased somewhat in the modern age? I don't know if there's any way we can get a handle on those two different ideas.
One question is easy and one question is very difficult. Whether there was always anxiety, I'm pretty sure yes, always, different types of anxiety. But now people are more open to speak about it. More people watch it also, and more people are open to speak about it.
Also aware of it.
We live in a, I want to say in better times, no, not really, actually, but in more open times, right? When you can express yourself easier, and people are not ashamed of it. We see so many former players that said we were so anxious, but we were afraid to speak about it before. And now we are open to speak about it. Now, whether it changed in terms of the anxiety, the levels of anxiety changed, I don't know. I just don't know. Yes, Stefan. If we don't have a paper after this one, Stefan.
Right. It's got to. No, I think there's a much simpler answer. It's technology. I mean, that's what's done this. I mean, the cameras now can see absolutely every detail of every individual right up close. Historically, whether you watch, I mean, I don't think the anxieties of people watching in the stands being able to see that there's a leakage. It's going to be it's actually a television camera showing up a very high resolution picture, which is going to be hugely embarrassing. And I think that's what it's about.
And in that, I agree with you. And in that regard, I want to remind There were in 2016, I think, in the Olympic Games, they had camera from behind for 100 meters, 200 meters from behind, and then many women complained. They said, we don't want you to take this angle, like really from behind before they start running, and they removed it. Also the the Me Too movement made its big impact. We are more open to speak about those things, and we are more open to accept the demands of women that's unacceptable for them, and that's super fine. I think that's super fine. So in that regard, we live in really much better times. In other regards, I'm not sure, unfortunately.
Jess.
Yeah, I was just going to say, completely agree with what you've just said. I think this has always been a thing, because if you go to the gym or whatever, you're not seeing loads of women working out in white shorts. You'll see them in black leggings. So I think this is always a thing. Because, like you said, didn't have the confidence to say anything. You've got Billie Jean King doing Battle of the Sexes against a man. Do you think she was also going to bring up, by the way, I don't want to wear white at Wimbledon? Yeah, I just think, like you say, now's the time that people feel they can say something about it. Plus, like you say, all the additional technology that there's going to be videos going viral and stuff as well is only going to make that worse. But yeah, I think it's always been a thing.
Thank you.
Daniele.
Yeah, no, just going back to I don't know, maybe this is just a discussion, but the 1970s and the tennis stars. And somebody before mentioned that, now there's awareness of not using, anti-conceptional pills and, things that can regulate the cycle, because that can itself hinder performance. But has always that been well known? Because actually I was impression that, the tennis calendar allows you perhaps to, avoid those concerns by regulating the menstrual cycle. And maybe this is less possible in a month-long tournament like a World Cup.
Yeah, could be. I've been thinking about it, whether they kind of delay a cycle. But again, this type of information is no chance I can get it. It's super private and it's not.
No, of course. But I guess I'm just curious about who mentioned the what we do know about the medications to regulate the cycle and performance, and when has that stopped happening?
Yeah, it's a good.
Not at the individual level, right? I'm just saying, like.
But that's the point here. So it was important for me to investigate the teams level, because you have 11 players plus like 3-4 substitutes, and one of them with very high probability, at least one of them, if it's probably more.
I think that if you do the combinatorics, the probability is going to be very high.
Yeah. It's going to be 3-4 at least, I guess.
I think that at least one must be well above 50%.
Yeah. That's for sure. Hey, thank you, Daniele.
You may have kind of covered it, but it springs to mind, wasn't there a male footballer, Colo Torre, who tested positive for a banned substance? And he claimed it was his wife's.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Why he's taking it is another matter entirely, but the thought I've got is whether, drugs testing regimes interact with, whether elite female performers are able to take particular kinds of birth control, etc. I don't know whether any of this kind of stuff is even relevant.
Yeah, could be. So there was another question.
Yeah, Pete, he's got his hand up.
Actually, I don't have a question, just a comment. Being a clueless male, I never really thought about this as an issue until today.
Oh.
Thank you for bringing it up. Thanks.
So thank you very much. So if I could affect at least one person, I did my thing in this presentation. That's really nice. And given that really in men's football, we find absolutely zero effect, as expected. And women's football, maybe the real effect, if you take many games, it's not 0.3 points, it's less. But I guess it's still be there, but we are not in the guess business, right? So that's the data I have, and that's the finding I have.
Yeah. Any more questions or comments from online? Okay, well, I'll take over for the final moment of my camera. And thank everyone. Thank Alex for being here. Very good to have him with us. Thank everyone who's in the room and also in the Teams room as well. Thank you for a really interesting discussion. We break for next week. We don't meet next week because it's the first Latin American Sports Economics Conference next week in Bogota, Colombia. Then we return on the 27th, 2 weeks from now, with Raphael Fleck from the University of Zurich, presenting replication. Do coaches stick with what barely worked? Evidence about comparison in professional sports. Wish you all a fantastic weekend and see you all soon.
And make sport, not war, and we will prevail. That's the fact.